Leonardo da Vinci famously said, "God will sell you all things at the price of labor." What he was trying to convey is that all the byproducts of life have a cost. They require effort, they require dedication. You cannot have success without suffering. You cannot have winning without effort and without dedication. God will sell you all things at the price of labor. You want to be successful? You're going to have to work for it. You want a good relationship with your spouse? You're going to have to work for it. You want a good physique? You want good health? You're going to have to work for it. But it's easily available to those individuals that input the right amount of effort and energy in order to accomplish their dreams. Once you've determined what you want and where you want to go, you need to input the necessary amount of energy in order to get there. If you want to go from point A to point B in a car, you got to drive. The motor's got to crank up and it's got to go. In the same way, it applies to our life. If you want to achieve success, you're going to have to pay the price. And it won't be cheap. It'll be tireless nights, long days, empty bank accounts, depressing thoughts, isolation, loneliness, tribulation, heartaches, headaches, and a lot of pain. But on the other side of pain is pleasure. On the other side of pain is success. And if you understand that and you have that as the beacon in the forefront of your life, well, work becomes more bearable. The journey becomes more enjoyable because you understand that in due time, you will sow, and in due time, you will reap. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If your mama isn't retired, if your daddy's broke, if your bank account is empty, what the fuck are you doing? Talking and worrying about what another person is doing on the internet. Shame on you. Do better. Be better. Because your opinion affects me. None at all. Your thoughts about me, your projections and insecurity about what other people have accomplished or done has no impact on my future. And what I've come to realize is that hate never comes from the top. It always comes from the bottom, usually from the little trolls living under the bridge. And what I've determined in my life is that if you don't put money in my bank, if you aren't going to be at my deathbed, if you aren't elevating me consistently and constantly, then your opinion is worthless and useless. If you have no money, if your health is terrible, if your mama isn't retired, and if your daddy isn't taken care of, shame on you. Especially if you're wasting time on the internet talking about other people who don't even know you exist. Instead of getting pressed, instead of getting jealous, and instead of projecting your insecurities and your bullshit on another person through internet forums, look at yourself in the mirror and ask, how can I change? How can I become better? How can I stop fucking wasting my time and my life? And how can I be proactive towards a better, more fruitful endeavor? My life is set. I come from the trenches. I come from Argentina. $200 in a motherfucking suitcase. Pressure wash basketball courts, clean toilets, flip motherfucking wings, toss them there behind the kitchen, worked in a dish pit, all the way to building a multi-million-dollar business. And none of it was done by listening to motherfucking haters and losers on the internet. And to my lovers, to my fans, to the people that follow me, remember one thing. On the way to success, on the path to the top, you're gonna have these little pebbles, these little minuscule worms in the way that will have something to say. But it doesn't matter. Their opinion is obsolete. Their opinion is irrelevant. On the way to success, the hate is inevitable. But let the losers do their thing, and we continue winning. Abraham Lincoln famously said, if I had 6 hours to cut down a tree, I would spend the first 5 sharpening the axe. What Abraham Lincoln was trying to convey is that in preparation, the battle is won. In the sharpening of the tools and in the development of yourself, things become a lot easier to accomplish. I see so many people hustling and going out there with no skills, no refined process, and then they fail. And then they ask themselves, why is it that I haven't been able to accomplish anything great? And you begin to look at their tools and you begin to look at their toolkit, and it's empty. It's unpolished. It's unrefined. If you want to be good at business, there's essential skills that you have to learn before you go into business. Sales, marketing, customer service, logistics, human resources. All these essential skills that are polishing you away in order to become a better individual and a better entrepreneur. And I see so many people that want to skip that step. They just think that it's the hustle and it's the grind and it's the hustling 24/7 that's going to get you to the top. But I see a couple people make a few strategic moves and they make it to the top. Why? Because they prepared. Do not fade the preparation. Do not fade the process of development, and understand that the game is won in preseason. The game is won in practice. The game is won in training. If you want to make it to the top, no shortcuts, my friend. If you want to make it to the top, you can't just hustle your way to greatness. You have to become a new person. You have to develop new skills. You have to develop a new mind and refine who you are and how you operate. If you look at a billionaire, they're not the same person they used to be when they just got started. Oh, well, that's obvious, Luke. Yeah, well, what was the process that got them to a billionaire status? That is what you need to learn, and then understand what are the skills that you need to develop in order to, in some way, shape, or form, exemplify a piece of that greatness or a piece of those developed skills. If you want to become a highly proficient athlete, you're going to have to put in the hours. If you want to become a highly proficient chef or highly proficient musician, you're going to have to put in the hours and the work and the dedication. Nobody's going to stand or give you accolades or praise when you are unrefined and unpolished and common like everybody else. It's the same thing with business. It's the same thing with greatness. It's the same thing with accomplishing your goals. Like I said, Abraham Lincoln said if he had 6 hours to cut down a tree, he would spend the first 5 sharpening the axe. And in those first 5 hours, you're going to feel like it's unproductive. You're going to feel like you're wasting your time. But then when you slice the tree, you're going to be like, whoa. People were telling me that I just had to grind and hustle and just try and chop this thing down, and it wasn't working. But in the process of self-development, in the process of refinement, in the process of polishing yourself, things become easier. If it's hard today, through repetition and through effort, it'll get easier tomorrow. In that process of iteration and polishing and refining and sharpening will lead you to become a better entrepreneur, a better individual, a better person altogether. Sharpen the axe, elevate yourself, and understand that you're not being unproductive. You're not being a person that's wasting time by developing valuable skills. You're becoming a powerful individual that eventually will wield these skills to live a life of their dreams. There's a verse in the Bible that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your thoughts lead to actions. Actions determine habits. Habits determine patterns of behavior. And your behavior determines the outcome of your life. So let me ask you today, what is it that you think about yourself? When you look in the mirror, do you think positively about yourself, about your life, about your outcome, about your future? Or is it negative? Is it always pessimistic? Because as you think, so you become. So if you think that you're always going to have bad opportunities, or that the successful person around you, they come from daddy's money, or that everything is luck and that you just happen to be unlucky, well, you're merely projecting that into your future and into the rest of your life. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, means that it all starts here. And if you can control what you input into your mind and what you believe about yourself, then that will translate to your actions. And if that can translate into your actions, it'll translate into your behavior, and that behavior will translate into your lifestyle. If you want to change your life, change your mind. Don't allow the feeble losers to dictate through their lack of belief and through their insecurities what it means to become great, or what it means to develop a complete mind, or to develop a beautiful life. Carve your own path, determine your own lane, become the master of your soul, become the master of your destiny, and understand that if you can just be positive, if you can talk well about yourself, if you can, through the negativity and through the chaos, continue to be positive and continue to elevate, through time, that will manifest through action and it'll change your life. It'll take time. It'll be a process. And sometimes you will have to convince yourself, right, that it's possible. But I am a testament that you can come from nothing and build a beautiful life, that you can go from zero to hero, from peasant to king, if you change the way that you think. And if you don't know how to change the way that you think, begin to digest new information. Stay away from the haters, stay away from the losers, stay away from the people with weak minds and weak mentalities, and find those people that empower you. Find those people, elevate your spirit and your soul, and understand that your potential, my friend, is limitless. You, my friend, are limitless, but you must believe. And if you can believe, all things are possible.